One of my favorite parts of the year is right after we burn. Every year, you get this clean slate. Everything just turns black. In the Flint Hills, the best way to keep that native grass fresh and rejuvenated every year is by fire. It's just a fresh sense of a new beginning and where that year could take you. It's something that's been done for generations and will continue to be done through generations. They can be pretty intense, pretty stressful. Every day in agriculture, we're having the battle of going against a controlled chaos. It's something that I think you have to be able to do or you're always going to be frustrated. That flexibility that we have to have is what makes us successful. Spring on the farm, that's always just been one of the best times of the year. That's just the beginning of everything. And then the next thing you know, a week later, you have these little sprigs of grass popping up all throughout the countryside. You always have a plan in mind when you go into planting season. We're finishing up feeding cattle in our feedlot and getting ready to ship those cattle out to grass in the Flint Hills. And then on the farm, we're constantly shuffling seed, getting ready for planting, and just making sure all of that gets done in a timely fashion, but also when the weather allows us to do so.
We're probably about half done with getting corn ground prepped. And if everything goes right, then mid-morning tomorrow, we'll start in on planting. I feel pretty hopeful it'll work out for right now with the weather patterns we're going through. And I think by weekend, though, we're in for a pretty good shot of rain.
If the weather's just not working in your favor, you have to be flexible. You got to make sure that you're always in communication with your seed dealer and making sure that that flow of communication is there and working well.
How are we doing?
Pretty good. Yourself?
Okay. Wanted to plant one field just to see if it's going to work.
It's not ideal, but it's time.
Yeah.
At some point, it's got to go.
Well, that's what I told Jack the other day. So we can't wait forever.
Lately, the weather pattern hasn't been 100% like normal. Usually we would be 100% done planting corn by now, but we haven't even put a seed in the ground. I think I'm just looking forward to getting the planter rolling for one, and then testing out the variable rate scripts that I had the opportunity to write on FieldView. This darker green is the better part of the field. Here is where we have a little bit of a drainage issue. That's the water hole, so I lowered the population. I mean, technically from here to here will be a good test strip too.
Yeah, just see
right
the variability through the field with going through all the zones there.
So
Should work.
Fingers crossed. Planting is the most important part. That's where your income essentially starts, is when that seed hits the soil. You have to 100% refresh your mindset. That first day is always a little bit jittery, trying to work out all the little kinks that you thought you had worked out in the shop. Some things are going to go wrong and you just have to be okay with it. We always try to have our channel seedsman with us. He's the one that's, making sure that we have the right hybrid for that soil type, making sure that, the seed is going into the ground properly.
Working with the Lefflers, I talk a lot of seed with both of them, figuring out what's going on over here, what we need to bring over, what I can do to help her. Our relationship has grown from more of a business relationship into a friendship, like it does with a lot of our customers.
It's super rewarding because you've done all this planning so that you can get that planter into the field and end up making a beautiful crop at the end of the day. Our family has always been super involved within our community, whether that's sitting on boards or helping host community events. Right now, we're headed to pick up milk from a dairy that I made a connection with through Kansas Farm Bureau. Their daughter is actually the one running it, and so I think that's kind of why we hit it off. And I reached out for this event and said, hey, we would love to have our local 4th grade kids be able to taste test all the different flavors of milk. And so she's gonna donate all the milk for us, and so we're getting ready to pick it up. We're interacting with the youth within our community to let them see the broad spectrum of agriculture. Thank you guys for being here. This is the Kansas Farm Bureau Lyon County Board that puts on this event. We're super excited to see you. We're gonna get started with some sheep shearing and wool spinning. You don't just have to be a farmer. You could be a seedsman, you could be in technology, you could be creating apps like FieldView. That array of job opportunity is so big now. That's why it's so important that we get it in front of them and get it in front of them early.
Now this is one of the nice times of the year when you're looking around and seeing the trees budding out, grass greening up, and everything starting to take shape for another fun year of seeing if we get everything to grow.
When I was first starting back at the farm, I always felt like I was missing a ton of knowledge. You know, I was constantly trying to learn and grow and figure things out. Agriculture is something that's always going to evolve, always going to change. Knowing that that growing period and that learning period is never going to stop is what's the most exciting for me. You know, there's so much more to come. We don't know what it looks like yet, but I'm super excited to find out.